everyone, my name is Laura Wayne and today I'm going to show you how I made the Simplicity 9456 oversized hoodie. So I'm a surface pattern designer and I do have some fabrics out. These are my new Cozy Fleece. So they are double-sided with a fluffy side, super warm, super cozy. So these are Cozy Fleece available at Spotlight stores. So that is a fairy bread design. We have puppy dogs, chicken nuggets, and gummy bears. So I made mine out of the nuggets fabric. Really happy with how it turned out. I did do the version C on the pattern, which doesn't actually have a pocket. I did decide to add the pocket. I also added a bit more length to the bottom, and the sleeves I found were a little bit too long, so I decided to trim them down as well. So I'll show you exactly how I made mine and what adjustments I made. This was the first time for me sewing with this type of fabric. I did research the stitch length and the differential feed, so I will put all those details in there as to what I did. But it's a little bit of trial and error. Check your machine, see what works for you. So that was with my overlocker. I did also use my sewing machine for hemming, and I did use my walking foot for that. So that was the research I did. I found that that was the best option to go with. So yeah, trial and error if you haven't worked with these fabrics before, but I'll definitely show you exactly how I made my version of the hoodie. It is, I absolutely love it. It is so warm, it's so fun. Oh. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm really happy with the size. I love the oversizedness of it. My dog can even curl up on my lap on the couch with it, so super happy with it. Would definitely recommend this pattern.
So I started out by cutting all of my fabric pieces out. Then I worked out my overlocker settings. I did tension, I made them all 4. I did my differential feed at 1.3, my stitch length at 4, and my stitch width between 4 and 7. So then I overlocked all of the edges of my pocket. I folded over the parts that will be the open part of the pocket, and I hemmed the edges with my walking foot on my sewing machine. Now at this point you should actually attach the pocket to the front of your hoodie. I didn't do this, but I do recommend doing it at this stage. So now you will go and fold over the top edge, the 2 side edges and the bottom edge, pin it together onto your actual front piece of your hoodie and stitch along. You'll see a little bit further in the video, so watch that part, but make sure you come back and attach it at this point. So now I've overlocked the edges of the shoulders and around the hood. Now we're going to hem the hood, so basically just folding over that edge and hemming around with your sewing machine. Now here we have attached the hood to the neckline, so basically you just got to make sure that you start from the middle back and bring it all the way to the front to make sure that the fronts do match up perfectly. So might be a little bit of tweaking and pulling things around, but just make sure everything lines up perfectly. Then we need to attach the arms, so right sides together along the arm sections. We're going to stitch those together, and there they are. So I did find that I had a little bit of extra fabric once I did attach the arms. So what I did is they were pretty much the same on both sides, so I just trimmed down one side, and then I used the that piece that I'd cut off to basically cut the other side roughly the same amount. So then I was ready to basically place it right sides together and then do the arms and hem down the side of the hood. So at this point I decided that the arms felt a bit too long and the length wasn't quite as long as I'd like it to be. So what I did was I worked out roughly what I thought I should cut off the sleeves. I cut one sleeve, and then I basically grabbed that piece and replicated it on the other side and cut the same amount off. Then I also made a band at the bottom that I attached just to give it a little bit extra length. Then I hemmed the bottom, once again just pinning it over and then sewing across with a walking foot. I then started working on my cuffs. I felt that they were a little bit too loose and wide. However, they probably would have been perfect, but I wasn't sure, so I did trim them down and then I pinned them on. And as you can see, because I'd cut it down, there was a lot more stretch that I needed to actually sew it together. So you can see there, quite a bit of stretch. I had to pull it as I sewed around that. So with my overlocker, once again you can see how much sort of stretch there is between them, because I didn't have as much of the ribbing fabric as the pattern did ask for, so it was a little bit different, but I managed to get there in the end. There it is. And as you can see, it's quite a little cuff, but they turned out really well anyway. But you could probably use the original size and it would be fine. So at this point now I have actually stitched on the pocket. So once again, just folding over the edges at the top and the two sides and the bottom. So stitching down, across and up, leaving those openings open, and then stitching across the top as well. So it's really just hemming them down and then pinning them all around and stitching. But definitely do that at the earlier stage because it's much easier at that point. So here it is, the finished hoodie. I absolutely love it. It turned out really well. I was really proud of myself for using this fabric for the first time, and yeah, really happy with it.
Thanks so much for watching my video today. I hope you really enjoyed that. If you would like to be notified of any new video content, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. You can also follow along on my design journey at Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.